Good morning, nation. Good morning, Craig Oshrin, C. Marty Fit, Keith Bilous joining you here with the wrong coffee cup, guys. Up. I know. I'm a little taken aback, C. Marty. My whole day's off now because I got the wrong coffee cup.
Come on, man. You starting off bad. You messed up the AI podcast. Come on, man. You got me working on a holiday. Come on, man. What's going on this week, Keith?
Oh, man, the show's only a minute in. We got Craig Oshrin joining us this morning. Keith's lamenting over the wrong coffee cup. But, Marty, I went for a walk this morning, man. I know in your books, walking might not necessarily be the most effective form of high-intensity working out, Mr. C. Marty Fit. But I did elevate my heart rate just a smidgen as we let Craig keep digesting his food there this morning as we're opening up the show here. And then I forgot my coffee cup in the garage. So I came in the house scrambling to find my coffee cup. So I got a different one this morning, but I'm okay with that. So today, guys, we are going to talk about, we got a topic today, gentlemen, to discuss. Oh, I threw you off the screen. It is the ethical dilemma of AI in hiring. And then, of course, we're going to dig into who is Craig Oshrin. See, Marty, do you know who Craig is?
It's my first time meeting Craig, so I'm not
well, there you go. I'm excited to be meeting Craig. I've talked with Craig a little bit in the LinkedIn feeds, a little bit in the Brand Built community, just a little bit on LinkedIn itself. But I was excited to sit down with Craig today as well to learn about who he is. And I know Craig. Hey, Seymour, I know Craig does a little bit of I think crypto Bitcoin stuff. I think Craig does a little bit of senior home care health stuff. I think Craig
all over the place, man.
I know. I think Craig might be moving the needles in society.
Yeah. Definitely.
Most important role is being a dad, though, for sure.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Let's just jump into it.
Dad. It's always good to have super dads on. Always great.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. What's up, Marty? It's so lots to cover. Wait, where do we want to start?
Well, so here's what we're going to start this morning. We're just going to kick into a few comments over the weekend. We get to know Craig a little bit, and then I want to get into who is Craig Oshrin. And then we're going to get into our accountability check-in on the 16-minute mark. And then if things go all to plan, we'll shine a light on somebody about 41 minutes into the show. But shoot, why don't we just jump right into it, C. Marty? Shall we pose the big question to Craig Oshrin right now?
Sure, let's do it.
Just ask the question like right now and
just throw it out there, Keith.
Throw it right out there and ask the dude and ask Craig. So who is all right? Who's Craig Oshrin?
I'd say someone who cares about helping others.
Oh.
Someone who cares to make a positive impact. That's my beautiful daughter. So she interrupts. Hey, honey, I'm on a podcast right now. I know. I love it. This is the part of being a parent, by the way.
Yes.
So if she comes here, she's getting on camera. All right. So I think making a positive impact and not being a shill in the space, which is the most important thing, because in the space, I'm gonna put you on camera, and then you'll be. Then you'll.
There you go. Hey, we got some teammates joining the show this morning.
Hey.
So not being a shill in the space, not getting paid to promote something you don't believe in, I think is what I stand for and represent. I love you. Yeah, I'll be upstairs in a little bit. Okay, love you. Bye. So I think that to me is probably the number one thing in the business part. On the personal side, I like to see people continue to elevate. Marty, as you know, you're into fitness. I can see it. Staying fit, staying healthy, getting out there for a run is incredibly important, because your health is your wealth. So I think it's it. Make impact on people. Your health is your wealth, and not chilling stuff in this space just for a buck. I want to make money the right way. And I also want to help other people to do that in this space. And I've been afforded a really great opportunity through my hard work and effort, and also the relationships I've built.
Interesting. I'm intrigued by your comments, Craig, about not shilling. And I'm very appreciative of that comment, because that space, that Bitcoin crypto space over the years has unfortunately, I'm going to emphasize, unfortunately, really been, what's the word I'm looking for? Has really been catapulted forward by shilling.
Yeah.
By celebs.
Very much so.
Yeah, by celebs, by humans, by anybody who just wants to get a piece of the pie. It's like, okay, I'm going to shill this new project. Use that term. I'm going to shill this new crypto project. Again, I love how that word project was such a big part of the lexicon there for a couple of years, right? It's like, okay, I'm starting a project. Here's the roadmap. You want to give me some money and buy some crypto? And shilling was a thing, but doesn't seem to be as much a thing anymore, Craig.
And it's, you know, it's not. And I think the other part to that is this week, I'm going into the studio. I did 4 videos last week for a company in which I create content for. It's called Andromeda. They're sort of like the Windows of Web 2. They're going to be that in Web 3. And they're creating these things called Andromeda Digital Objects.
Yeah.
And I think from that end, this week I'm going to be talking about a token. It is a meme token because there's a meme. The meme culture is something I want to report on, because that culture in Web3 is something more than just liquidity. It is a way to build actual utility based on that of products and services. And the biggest of all meme coins is Doge. And so when we look at Doge, I did a video on this, is Doge will be utilized potentially as a payment rail for X. And anything that is developing, anything that's newsworthy is on Twitter. I still call it Twitter. And so if you're purchasing that currency on that platform, and Elon is already a fan of that, that is a recipe for potential success, depending. And again, I think a lot of people get in way over their heads. I call it tuition. You throw a lot of money out there, and then you see kind of what sticks. And if there's a narrative, because you have charts, and then you have what we call social currency. And social currency will always outweigh the charts.
Yeah. See, Marty.
I was going to say, how do those charts compare to like stock market charts? They're a little more crazier than and they don't have as much history. So what's the difference? How do you compare those?
So I've been spoiled. When I say built my army, I have one of the guys that I work very closely with who's on my team. He's all about tokenomics. So he's reading charts. He's looking at, you know, gold versus silver, fiat versus Bitcoin, and they're matching these charts up and figuring that out. So I don't look at those charts as much. I'll have that conversation. I'm more driven by the social narrative. So when we talk about Bitcoin, I go on Google this morning, and what do I see? Oh, Janet Yellen, you know, is preparing XYZ, and this token is going to go to $1 million. Well, anybody that can hop onto a Coinbase account and purchase a bunch of Bitcoin, not knowing the history of Bitcoin, not knowing, you know, what a SAT is. And I don't want to go too far down the funnel for everybody listening, but to not have general knowledge and then just throw money out there and then be disappointed when it doesn't pan out for them. But to answer your question in short, when you get a token, so for instance, this meme token that I have, we're talking that over the next 3 to 4 months, it could do a 20x. However, it could even do 100 or 200x. What really depends is the social currency, community engagement, and how the big whales, whether there's 5 or 10 of them, or maybe 100 that are holding the mass majority of supply, who aren't letting it go. Because you always say, I got left holding the bag. I see you. I got left holding the bag. And that can be a very troubling thing, because then people get angry and then they're held in at a certain price point. The stock market, if I said, buy this XYZ stock, you'd be like, hey, a 30% return this year, that's amazing. In crypto, that's like nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people play the lotto ticket game. I believe, though, when you hop into meme coins, I have rules of thumb for myself. It's not for everyone, but I'm throwing $100 or $200. I'm not throwing 1,000 or 10,000, because you don't need to have a parabolic gain. Yeah. And those parabolic gains with the meme coin culture in Web3 has a certain feel about it that you don't see in traditional markets. And that's the idea from TradFi, traditional finance, to DeFi, decentralized finance. And that's what makes this space so exciting, and we're so early.
How? I want to say one thing, Keith.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone break down the meme coin situation like that. You know, I've only heard negative stuff about it. So appreciate that. I learned today.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, so the team at, or not team, the holders, the communities reached out from Landwolf, and I've known them from our ENS communities, which are NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which is a whole other story, which we could get into a little bit. But they reached out and they're like, Craig, would you want to create some content around this? We don't pay to shill, and we you know, if we like your content and people in the community want to tip you with token, I'm like, that's great. So I'm going to be talking about the culture. I'm going to be doing a video on their culture this week and what it means. And it's called The Boys Club. They have a book. They've got music that they're producing. They've got merchandise. So they're actually adding value with this meme. It's not just a standardized meme. One of the biggest memes that you'll hear a lot about is the Pepe. And very interesting how traditional finance tried to make that token out to be something that it really wasn't. So it's just fascinating to see how this continues to evolve and unfold over the coming months and years.
Excellent. 11 minutes into the show here with Craig Oshrin, myself, C. Marty Fit. Mornings in the lab with Keith and C. Marty and friends and a bunch of awesome people coming to the lab here this morning. We got Craig Oshrin joining us. Hey, Craig, so how did you end up in this area of technology?
Yep.
Were you an early Bitcoin adopter? Were you an early Ethereum adopter? What took you in this direction of Bitcoin and not shilling? Great.
So I bought Bitcoin when it was at $400, and I was stupid enough to sell it. I had no idea where this thing was going. It was on Coinbase. There were 3 coins: Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. For anybody who's back in it, and I'm going back to 2016, 17 on that.
Wow.
And I go to my cousin. My cousin says to the office, he says, "Hey, check out this crypto." Next day, my account is double. I'm like, I'm rich. and I'm like, I'm gonna make it. And then all of a sudden, it drops underneath. You're rich too. And all of a sudden, it just plummets. And I just felt this defeat. And I didn't do anything with it until about 2021. And then a friend of mine, I was on a group call because COVID came, lockdowns, and everything was going crazy. And you're in this space. And my buddy shows me NBA Top Shot, and he shows me this company called Vivi, and they do digital collectibles. And I didn't go to sleep that whole night. My wife comes downstairs and she's like, "Why didn't you come to bed?" I said, "I'm on to something." And it's rewarding me. But I don't do the flash is cash thing. And I think this space lacks a lot of quality content and credibility. And that's something that I hope to bring to that. But to answer your question, I think a lot of people get involved in the cryptos and they have no idea what to pick, what to select, what to get behind. But when the shutdown came, I started to learn this space and the technology. I had an appreciation. I was going into Twitter Spaces for hours, just listening in. And then the skill set of being comfortable in front of the camera and creating content, I started to really implement that. And then in 2022, I started Craigo's Crypto Corner, which there's a YouTube channel. And I interviewed some of the top people in the world, technology people, communities that had generated millions of dollars in NFT sales. And I had some really amazing experiences through that. And I did that at a place called the Knowlton, my friend's building in Bridgeport. It's an amazing building, art, industrial, it's chic. It's a really awesome place of creativity. And Downtime TV Studio, they have this whole setup and it was amazing. And I got my first KOL opportunity. Key opinion leader is what they call it. It's a nicer word for influencer. It's sort of like, if you're going to be called a janitor, you'd rather be called a custodial engineer. So I'd rather be called a KOL, key opinion leader, if I can have an opinion here. And so as things were moving forward, there were just more opportunities that came. And so I went outside of the studio for a little while. And if, every once in a while I'll post it on LinkedIn, but on Twitter, I will post these short clips that are about 2 to 2.5 minutes long. And I'll just give kind of a very, like what you said, Marty, is a simplified breakdown. The worst thing I can ever hear from somebody is, "Wow, that's complicated. I don't want to know it." And then your false ego, there we go. Your false ego goes, "Wow, I'm really smart." And it's like, no, if you were really smart, you would have made sure that Marty and Keith understood what the heck you were talking about. So that's been a little bit of my journey. And now I've just been creating content. I love it. And I would do it if there was no financial benefit, but it's nice to get the alpha from community holders who know and respect me and appreciate my content.
I know that C. Marty Fit sees himself as a KOL, a key opinion leader, Craig. So I know that C.
Oh yeah, take pride in it too.
Yeah, C. Marty is the ultimate key opinion leader when it comes to anything that you might have an opinion on. C. Marty will offer his opinion on it and give you some time to digest it. So there we go. So we are 60 minutes into the show. Keith, C. Marty, Craig Oshrin here this morning. Mornings in the lab. So listen, gentlemen, See, Marty, it's this point in the show. You know what's coming up now, pal. We are going to check in for our accountability check, and I'm going to do this here. I'm going to do this here. I'm going to do this here. Yeah. So accountability check in. We're going to just put Craig off to the side for a quick second here. Marty, so accountability today, pal. You know what got coming? It's
what we got today.
What's around the corner? What's coming up in a few days?
We got June, the month of June, something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. The month of June is also telling us that January is around the corner, which means that we are going to spew some accountability topics for nation to consider to move themselves forward. But hey, Marty, we just seem to be talking a lot about AI these days. AI is reshaping the world.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's important for today's accountability check and for everybody listening right now. You got to get on board. You have to get on board. I'm spending days in it. Marty's spending days in it. We're watching, playing with it. It is upending the world. And I just want to offer up to you, nation, is that AI is reshaping it. Getting on board is crucial. For today's accountability check-in, flexibility is key. Got to be responsible with it. But let me tell you how I'm adapting to AI responsibly. Spending a lot of time educating myself, Marty. I know we talk about it often. I know you and I are working on some things behind the scenes here. I know that we are being transparent with our use of AI, right? We're not hiding behind it. We use this live show to build trust. But nation, we got AI products and solutions coming out, like some AI generated newscasts by myself, lifestyle newscasts generated by myself, fitness casts generated by Marty, but AI generated versions of ourselves. So we want to be responsible. We want to educate ourselves. We want to tell you about AI advancements. We want to commit to learning new things every single day. We want to think about questioning bias. We're going to tune our conversation here into a few moments around bias and how AI is perhaps, perpetuating it. We want to talk about ethically researching the bias in AI and read case studies. So let's be really comfortable and familiar with it. Evaluating the tools that we're using. I know that I've been using some tools that immediately just spew out content that is not as diverse as I would like it to be. So we're ensuring that we have a diversity in our content. Right. So it's these topics that I think it's really important as we're moving through this world of embracing AI, balancing efficiency and ethics. Right. So constantly reflecting on balancing the efficiency with your ethics. If you have a team, set the guidelines, Marty, for ethical AI use. It's going to be really easy for people just to jump in and do stuff with these tools and not really worry about if anybody's watching. So, as we're talking about this embracing of AI for today's accountability check-in, disruptive tech is always going to come, Marty. The best you can do is stay adaptable and open to embracing it. And I think that's really got to be the key here when it comes down to embracing these tools, Craig Oshrin, which is staying adaptable, open to embracing it. Because, gentlemen, AI is here to enhance humanity, not here to replace it. That's my key opinion leader statement this morning, is that there's a lot of chatter about replacing jobs and firing people. I don't agree with that. I think these tools are going to do a wonderful job of enhancing our abilities to do things, not replace it. So I'm encouraging you, nation, today to embrace the tools around you. Don't be scared of them. Embrace them. See, Marty, comments on this before we wrap up today's accountability check-in.
Yeah, I was thinking about like self-checkouts and maybe people, quote unquote, losing jobs there. But it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. It makes you step your game up. So if that's your level, right? I'm checking people out. I'm a cashier. It's going to make you level up, because that might not be, it might not exist anymore. Like human cashiers at some point.
Yeah, but that's a good idea though, right? So we've seen those automated checkouts come out. People are like, oh my God, losing jobs. No, we just move the human to do something else.
Exactly.
And it's up to us to level up to learn those new skills. Craig, any comments on our accountability check-in this morning before we keep our conversation going? What's your POV on the embrace of AI and around the accountability of AI and this whole idea that, you need to embrace it, but do it responsibly? Craig Oshrin.
Just like a cup of coffee in the morning, we love the human connection. So while some of these jobs will change and some of them will go away, there will be jobs that are, I don't say remedial in task, meaning not complex, like whenever I worked at McDonald's, it was one of my first jobs that I ever had. And, you know, someone would point to the menu and go, I'd like a number 1 or a number 3 or a number 5. And you would just press in the register. It would have just the buttons to simplify. But it wasn't the job or the pay. It was the fact that you were coming to a counter to receive something in exchange for something, which obviously is fiat money. And in that moment, I got a chance to have a human connection. Good morning. Thanks for coming and come back. And those things are so important. So I think that human element can never be replaced. I think it can be positioned in there part-time. And so it's really exciting to see what's going to happen. But I love how you're positioning your podcast, what you're doing, how you're putting stuff out there, how to be responsible with content, because you could record something and literally Marty could be at the gym right now. We could be talking to the AI version of Marty, which is kind of crazy to me. So there's almost like a responsibility balance, and people want to know that they're talking to a human. And I don't know how far into the future we can fake that to a certain point, because that human element is really important. And in Web3, just coming back to that really quick, a lot of the amazing relationships I have, I've never met some of these people in person. It's been on a call like this. And so when you shake someone's hand, give them a hug, there's a different energy exchange in person. And you don't want everyone's energy, by the way. But for those that you do want, there's definitely a barrier between the screen and the connection of a hug or a handshake.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
Craig, I appreciate your comments right now, actually, because you're feeding sound bites into Keith and Marty's, business strategy here. I'm a big believer that as the world continues to move forward, these morning conversations might be a new form of setting the tone with media, because of the human connection, because of what you just said. What's the first thing you do, Craig, when you wake up in the morning? I'm going to bet you either open up your socials, you turn on, I don't know how old you are, but turn on maybe an old school radio or old school. Yeah. 40. Okay. 4. Yeah. I'm 52. Okay. 46. Yeah. So we grew up in a similar era. We're growing up with turning on the morning show on the radio or the TV, or now the socials over the last 15 years, where you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting up to check what's going on in the world, and I want to connect with humans. What? I want to connect with humans. That's what we do. And when I started the show with Nicole, Craig, a few months ago, I was like, let's bet on humans. Let's see if humans show up for the show in the morning. And sure enough, they are. Because it's the habits, Craig. It's the habits.
I fight the phone, and I love it. I love to get on that phone.
Good for you.
With my content. So I don't touch the phone for about an hour. That's if I'm really good. If I'm not really good, it's about a half hour. I pull out my goal and manifestation journal. And I don't want to sound like too goody-goody. So I'll do that. I'll meditate depending on the emotional state that I'm in, because you wake up at night when you go to sleep, and in the morning when you wake up are your hardest thoughts.
Yes.
And everything in between is dream. So good or bad. And I meditate, and I drink 4 glasses of water. That gets the system going. So, you can clean the pipes, and then your day is regular, as I like to say. So, I used to start it off on coffee. Yeah. But that's the worst thing, because I was talking to a buddy of mine who's in his 20s, and he's like, yeah, take coffee and I'm moving, everything's moving there. And I'm like, as you get older, that becomes like sludge. It's like old oil sludge. So I want to move that system around. I want to get those intestines working. So I'm straight up on that water in the morning, sometimes throwing a little bit of Himalayan salt in. That'll really move the system, and definitely putting a half a lemon in there to get that alkaline going.
Good for you. Good for you. So those are your morning. That's your morning start of your routine.
I'm making it my morning ritual. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you move into the rest of your day, right? Which is probably connecting with people.
Yeah. Connecting with people, making calls with care patrols, popping into different places, setting up events for our senior community. So it's a dual career world, along with carrying my real estate hat and then also being a dad. So when I leave this call, dropping my son off at his programs and continuing about my day.
That's exceptional. That's exceptional. So, Craig, you talked to us. So, before we get into this conversation around the ethical dilemma of AI and hiring and so forth, and continuing your story, Craig, I want to point something out that I've been working on here. So, you have not seen this yet. I've been working on this, and I showed Steve Marty this yesterday. But this here, Craig, is a complete AI generated newscast. So, what you're seeing, I have not done anything. So everything I'm showing you, everything that I'm showing you,
right?
There was zero level of human involvement. The title, the text, the chapters, everything you are witnessing with your eyes was all done by AI. All that I did was I created a 4-minute model of my voice, and then this is what happened. Welcome to the first episode of News from the Lab, the podcast where we dive deep into the latest developments from the Business Athlete Performance Lab. I am your host, Keith Bilous, and today we have a packed docket of compelling stories and insights. From the ongoing impact of George Floyd's murder on corporate diversity efforts to the legal battles involving major tech companies, and even some tips on how to make artificial intelligence work for you, we have got a lot to cover. So let's dive right in. It has been 4 years since the murder of George Floyd, a tragedy that sparked a global movement for racial justice and had So that gives you an example of an AI-generated newscast. And, myself and C. Marty continue to build the lab here. I'm of the POV that this live conversation with you, Craig, gives you the confidence that when you hear that, your brain goes, okay, I know this is AI-generated Keith, but I have communicated with Keith on camera and C. Marty. I know he's a human.
Yeah.
So this here has set the stage for you to accept that. And that to me is what I believe the future is, frankly, because what I just showed to you, anybody who's not agreeing with my future of the media is out to lunch, man, because that is the future right there.
I agree with you. I have a question for you. I'm just posing the question. So, there's so many different hot button topics and near and dear to all of our hearts.
Yes.
The question that I have for you is, do you go and listen to the content to make sure that it resonates on its messaging? So do you go back and listen to everyone? Because again, we take politics, for example. Everybody gets so emotional. And I say, this is popcorn season for me. So while I'll have my friends who are conservative and my friends who are Democrat have these really hard opinions, I'm sitting there just eating my popcorn. I'm an independent. I'm with humans. I'm with humans. I'm with respecting. I'm with tell me more about you so I can empathize and connect with you on a human level.
Yeah, I drink that same Kool-Aid, frankly.
The idea that we're all in this together is sort of the biggest lie that was ever told. We're all in this together is a lie that was propagated. I love the difference of thought and diversity of thought. So the question I have for you is, do you go back in and will you listen to everyone to make sure that if you have a hot button topic and you're like, wait a minute, this is AI generated, I recorded my voice, that's not how I feel about that. How careful are you with that line? Because it can get you in a lot of trouble. And then all of a sudden, I said, if you want to lose friends really quick, take a position on something. It could be anything, guns, abortion, whatever. Take a position and watch half your friends leave the door.
Yeah.
Or you have an echo chamber as to why you're so right and so virtuous.
Agreed.
It's a great question, Craig, and I appreciate you bringing it up because here's my view on that. How this tech works is that I have to go and curate my news stories. So the level of human involvement is I will go and so how I have it set up, Craig and C. Marty, I curate the content that I want to put out there. So I do have a level of human involvement in it, very much old school to old school publishing. Back in the olden days, as we grew up, Craig, there was a publisher sitting in the New York Times going, okay, I want the audience to read this story. I want the audience to read this story. So in many ways, we're kind of going back that way, right? Where me as the publisher, I'm curating what I want my audience to see.
Right.
So I will tell you, though, the definition of news. What the hell does it mean today in 2024? What is news right now, right? So as I've been building this product, it's been interesting to me what's classified as news, what's classified as lifestyle content, what's classified.
This is news. You know why? Because when you have, say, for instance, whatever issue we don't agree on, we can have a debate in real life person. Whereas when you watch a newscast, it is
talking
it's talking heads.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's an echo chamber to further your ignorance or to further promote what you believe in as truth.
Yes.
And that's why I love this form of media, because you can have those real conversations. The truth is in the room. When you have ascending opinions, a difference in opinions, that's when that's when the magic happens.
That is the ambition with this platform. With Live in the Lab, with Mornings in the Lab, is to create a conversational platform to have stories and have news and have conversations, right? We are not here to invite everybody to drink the same Kool-Aid. I want to have diverse views. I want to put a conversation. I want to put a topic out there, and then let's talk about it. Let's I want to hear your point of view, C. Marty. I want to hear your point of view, Craig. I want you to enlighten me. I might not agree with you, but I want you to teach me.
Right.
That to me is the world that we just get into echo chambers. So I'm trying to bring I'm trying to leave the echo chambers and bring people over here.
And more, by the way, more people realize that
yes.
than not.
Yes.
More people realize that than not. And no matter where you stand on your views, no matter how accepting you are of different cultures or identities or ideas, we all realize that.
Yes, exactly. You're right. And I think we're seeing that. Myself and C. Marty Fit are seeing that as we're inviting people into the lab and say, hey, come sit down in the chair and have a conversation with us. What are we going to talk about? Well, we got things we're going to put a topic on the table. Like today.
And I love the idea of the ethical dilemma around AI. So when we hit that, I have some thoughts or ideas, because I don't think it's much different from where we are now. And just really quick onto that, you have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook page. I have a LinkedIn page. You have a LinkedIn page. So if you're going to hire me, Marty, for your fit club, you're going to be looking me up. You're going to be checking out what is it that I'm putting out? What is my messaging? Am I putting out anything that's potentially perceived as divisive? I said, again, you want to lose friends, just take a hard position on a very emotional topic. And there are a lot of them out there. So let's get into it then, gentlemen. Let's get into it. Bottom of the hour here. See, Marty, Craig, let's talk about the ethical dilemma of AI in hiring. The idea of bias or necessity. AI can eliminate human bias. It assesses skills, not surnames. It evaluates performance, not profiles. Yet, let's be frank, it's not perfect. Algorithms, reflect human biases. They can perpetuate inequalities. So we need transparency, right? We need to understand AI decision makings. We need to ensure that there's diverse data sets. And there's been controversy around that these days, whether we're training the right models with the right diverse data. Craig, AI in hiring. See, Marty, is it a tool or is it a trap? And see, Marty, I'll call it out, right? So is it a trap? Is it a tool that limits people of color, people of different race? Is it biased? Does AI perpetuate potential racism? Let's talk about this topic right now. The ethical dilemma of AI in hiring, bias or necessity. Craig, you first. So I think AI is both. I think AI is definitely, I think it's a little biased. I played around with it at the beginning, asking some really heavy questions or fringe questions that you would say conspiracy. Mm-hmm. And so it was very interesting to see how it would respond. And I'm probably just going to just touch that surface and not go any further. But what I will say is the ideas around decentralization, not just DeFi, but decentralization and autonomy, and the idea of a digital citizen. So have you ever gone to a restaurant and you'll give them your credit card, and have they ever said to you, can you please show me your ID? In decentralization with how money will be used or Bitcoin will be used, you won't need to show me proof of ID. It's going to be you that's going to have access to either deploy or not deploy said funds. So I think just the same way as if Marty was hiring for his fit club or fit community, he would look me up. So how is it going to be any different in that sense? And then when you say you take the things out and it's just testing, well, not everybody tests well. So I think we're dealing with a lot of the same problems, only with faster, more aggressive technology and a different way to kind of polish up the people. So if you were good, you became better. If you were great, you became excellent. If you were you became okay. So I think that those levels of moving up, again, they put this phone in our hand and they go, hey, everybody, it's a smartphone because you're stupid. And so I think just as that technology evolves, the hiring process is right. Wouldn't it be great to hire me not based on my religion or my background, but you're hiring me, Craigo, because you believe in me? That would be great. But it doesn't always work that way. And while we want this virtual world, America, as I say, what's America's culture? It's pop culture. It's capitalism. And so in our country, we're contending with these things at all times. So you're going to hire the best earner for you. You're going to hire the best salesman. You're going to hire the best communicator. That's what you're going to hire. And so while you'll have all of these things that are standardized and it's the AI told us to hire this person, you know, and again, Marty, you speak more to this than I do. There was a thing called affirmative action.
I was just going to bring that up.
Okay, brother, you go for it. But that was a thing that came into my mind. So please, Marty, take that away.
Yeah, so I think it's both, just like you said. You know, it'll be easier to single out someone. So, hey, we need to hire someone of this demographic, right? You can find that easily. But what if they're not the best candidate, right? If you don't have that human element to it, you know, and now there's another issue there. I'm not going to go too far into this, but okay, we got the person of this demographic here. They're not the best for this job. Oh, why aren't they the best? Is it because of their skin color? Not now. It's just you can go down. You know, you can go
true.
down. It's true,
and it's unfortunate, isn't it, C. Marty? It's very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And I've had this debate with people, with other Black folks, people, you know, my race, and they'll say, you know, you could get this job or this offer because you're Black, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want that. I want to get it because I'm the best at what I do. I've turned down stuff because of that. I don't want you to just have me around just because I'm Black. So, yeah, but it's a gift and a curse for sure.
Yeah.
I think it'll make the hiring process easier. I think you can cut out, you know, some of the BS people who probably don't even need to be applying for the job, who aren't qualified. But yeah, it can go one or two ways.
Yeah, Craig.
Wouldn't it be great if just to blame it on AI? Be like, it wasn't me. I just didn't hire because the AI said no.
You can do that too.
Pass that buck.
Coming up in a few minutes, the Creator Spotlight this morning, we're going to shine light on somebody this morning who's doing some great work over on LinkedIn. But right now, we are talking about the ethical dilemma of AI in hiring. Is there bias, or is there a necessity? Is there a necessity with using AI in hiring? And gentlemen, are we going to move to a world where we're just going to put the coordinates in the old bot and it's going to say, okay, here you go. Here's C. Marty, here's Craig, and here's Keith, and go pick one of them?
No,
I sure as hell hope not.
Because AI was created by human beings, so it can always be overridden, reprogrammed, reassigned. You know, I mean, that's just the way that it's going to happen. And so, no, AI is going to be an integral part of the things that we do, but it's not everything, because that human element can never be lost. Jobs will change, and the cashier won't be the cashier anymore. They'll be doing something else because there will be different levels of work. You know, I think it was Elon Musk quote. And if someone doesn't like Elon, hey, I love you still. It's okay. I don't love him. I just was saying, just throwing that out there because they mentioned someone popular. He's like, oh, he loves Elon. No, but he said you get paid in perpetuity to the problems you solve. That's how you make your money. And I love how Marty brought up, it's like, no, if you're going to hire me, it's because you're going to hire me because I'm the best, or I'm one of the best, and that is made it and part of that team. And, you know, my spin up towards content creation and Web3 and the education, it wasn't overnight. It took a long time, a lot of trial and error, a lot of discouraged, you know, felt like there's a lot of moments of just giving up, but I didn't. I kept pressing forward. And the knowledge comes faster and faster and faster because a lot of the concepts are technical term and jargon that you hear, you now can bring forward and you can now simplify it for others. So I'd like to say I'm someone's smartphone in Web3 around content creation when they don't want to do the heavy lifting like I did to try to figure out some of the things that are nuanced.
What you know, I know what we're all hoping for is that we don't wake up in a world where we just have a bunch of AI agents that have been trained on history and we're repeating history's mistakes, right? Where we're just continuing to perpetuate a bunch of the old ways of doing things and nobody's being progressive and moving forward. So it certainly is an interesting conversation on the ethical dilemma, you know, these new tools, these new conversations we're having. You know, I know right now a lot of corporate America is reassessing their DEI initiatives, right? That we all jumped into a few years ago. And they're like, wait a minute, are these things even working? So you got this conversation.
Is it helping the communities
Exactly.
in which you created the DEI for in the first place? Just ask the question.
Yes.
Good question.
Yeah, exactly.
I got another question too. What field or what career do you think that would be necessary in like AI hiring? Do you think there would be a field or a certain career that it makes sense to have AI hiring or like over another career?
No, and I think it's going to go across. It's going to go across the gamut. I think big organizations, and just like when you talk about DEI, who was the ones that were bringing in it or enabling this initiative? It was big corporation. Big corporation got on board, and then the smaller corporations like, oh, we need to do this too because this is a great idea. I think the hiring process. I think right now people are just playing around with ChatGPT. So I have ChatGPT 4. So it's going to be very interesting to see. The programs are written into that. So as much as want to be like, oh, AI is not biased, it's just a computer program. No, someone wrote that program. And we all have a bias. We're all a little prejudiced. I'm going to say prejudice, we all prejudge. It's just what we do. That's why stereotyping happens. And so if we think that that's not making its way in to the hiring process within AI, I think we're kidding ourselves. It's just my hard opinion on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Gentlemen, let's put this conversation on pause here. The ethical dilemma of AI in hiring, bias or necessity. And let's pivot the conversation to what we like to do this time in the hour, which is shine the light, see, Marty, on our creator spotlight. And Craig, it's this point in the show where we like to take the big old light here in the lab. We like to find a human being. Not an AI-generated human being, Craig, but a human being, a real human. And we like to say, okay, they're doing some really cool work. I like what they're doing on the LinkedIn platform. And then we shine the light on them. So today, gentlemen, we are going to shine the light. And truthfully, Craig, usually I get my guests to nominate somebody, but I wasn't as organized last night and this morning as I would have. So you got off the hook on this one. So today we are going to shine the light on, here we go. Boom, Lindsey Bell. Today's creator spotlight in the lab. And I bring up Lindsey Bell, gentlemen, because there we go. Let's get some clapping up here. So Lindsey Bell offers unique insights on investing in careers, TEDx speaker, CNBC contributor, board member, investor, keynote speaker, cheerleader of people. So there's a few things that I loved about the work that Lindsey was putting out there. First of all, I loved her profile banner. She's like, the hell with it. I can't afford pictures and letters. I'm just going to make one big blue or black banner and put my letters in the top right corner. Love it. Good job, Lindsey. So you'll absolutely notice Lindsey's banner. She's like, boom, just the shift. But what struck me, guys, is some of her recent stories because of our conversation today. Younger generations say they are coasting in their jobs. See Marty Fit. My take is that this is their way of removing their identity from work. And then she also talked a couple of days ago is that it's tough to find jobs these days, especially for high income earners. Work, physical knowledge, creative. If you trade time for money to do its work. She talks about the changing landscape of work. And as we talk about hiring people and, accountability and AI and bias and necessity, Lindsey's really much digging into these conversations around people working and so forth. So I would encourage you to check out Lindsey Bell's LinkedIn profile page. You will follow her for unique and thought-provoking insights on investing, the stock market, but most importantly, gentlemen, and here's what struck me, the future of work, because the future of work is rapidly changing. We talk about things like Craig is talking about, identity with Bitcoin, identity with those type of technologies. Work is changing. I would invite you to check out Lindsey Bell's profile, Lindsey Bell Shift. She is going to educate you, entertain you with some great content, and she is our creator spotlight here today in the lab. Craig, Marty, comments on Lindsey Bell's stuff before we throw her off the screen?
I'm following her now.
Awesome. See, Marty, I encourage you to follow her as well. She's doing some great stuff there. I love her content, and hopefully we're going to get her into the lab to talk a little bit more about the shifting change of work and how AI is affecting it.
Let's get her in here for sure.
Let's do that. So, gentlemen, Marty, let's shift to the last segment of the show. Let's shine the light back on Craig Oshrin. So, Craig, you wear many hats, man. I love it. So not only do you dip into senior healthcare, I think it is, not only do you dip into the Bitcoin side of things, and we started our conversation there, but I really like you to talk about how you ended up in senior healthcare and that world. And was it a personal mission? Like what caught you going over there, Craig?
Yeah, so I have my real estate license, and about 10 years ago, I helped a friend of mine purchase a property. We weren't friends at the time; we just met at an event. His name is Chris Curran, and the real estate market's been hit really hard. And I was, wanting to find something in career-wise outside of Web3, because Web3 is very speculative. And while it's doing well and while it's, great, I wanted to have something that was roots planted here, community impact. And for years, I owned a moving company, and I did a lot of senior moves. I did about 5,000 senior community moves from 2001 to about 2013. So I was very busy helping seniors to move into communities. And then obviously when they had passed or moved on, I was having to help get their items out. And I had some really amazing men that worked with me throughout those years. And looking back on that, I am grateful for those experiences. And so before I got married, I got my real estate license, had that, and then had some really good years in real estate, but real estate has gotten incredibly tough. You're either very successful or you're just getting by. And so I was finding myself just not happy with that. And I was kind of, in part, I like real estate a lot and I'm still pretty good at it, but I fell out of love with that part of the career. And I have a lot of great realtors around me. I help a lot of people out. I, answer questions when it's needed, give an opinion, when it's needed. And so, my friend Chris met for coffee and he's just like, Craig, why don't you come work with me? And so for a year now, I've been working with him at Care Patrol. And what we do is we assess families, seniors. We assess mental acuity, physical ability, finances, and proximity to the adult child. We help position the tours of different communities. We quiet the noise so they're not dealing with directors of sales. A lot of them are great, but they're having to make a quota to fill their building. So we're focused on care for seniors. If they don't have the money and they're needing to figure out a Medicare spend down, we're giving advice. So we are an advisory service. We are not providers. Free service to those families. And we get paid from the communities when a placement's made. I'm salaried. So a lot of what I do is content creation, talking and educating people on things to be aware of concerning the senior care continuum, as we call it. And it's a growing space, and it's one that I love to do. And when I say it's emerging, the baby boomer generation is poised to be probably the largest number of seniors that we've ever seen. So as that's coming, there's a lot of communities coming up. I'm also passionate to see that facilities, which are skilled nursing facilities, which are not communities, are bringing the level and quality of care of a hospital-based model to someone in their last years. And so to me, I'm really passionate about seeing that happen. I love going to the senior centers and connecting with people on that level. So I do the media, the marketing, planning of the events, outreach. And so obviously that's part of lead generation for us, is like we want those calls, because when we're doing the placements, we're able to feed our family, but we're also able to make community impact and continue to move forward. And I've been enjoying it for the past year.
It's exceptional. See, Marty.
I wanted to make a comment, and I have a question as well. The comment was, I think that content creation is a very slept on skill, and I see that you're using the content creation like in every hat. So that's pretty cool. So I did want to highlight that. And then you mentioned earlier your routine. So how important is your routine, and how does it help you with wearing all these hats? Dad, senior home, Web3, the content creation. You do a lot of stuff. So how important is that routine and helping you?
Yeah, so I think by nature, Marty, I'm like a really anxious person. So in the morning, when I wake up and I'll have those 4 glasses and I'll meditate, whether it's 10 or 20 minutes, that will set the tone of the day. And everything else that I do, whether it's launching a script later in the afternoon, whether it's going to meet people, making calls, being productive, getting things done for the wife during the day if she calls me, hey, I need you to run here or do that. So I think it's definitely that morning balance, that routine really centers me and keeps my anxiousness at bay and allows me to be the best Craigo I can be.
That's exceptional. We got some claps from upstairs there. See Marty Fit, Craig Oshrin. We got Lauren joining us in the show here. Morning, Lauren. Thanks, baby, for giving us some support. Routine is the key, isn't it, Craig? Like without routine, it's funny because I'm glad to see Marty ask the question. When I did my homework on you today, I was like, man, this dude's busy. This dude is doing like 1,000 things, and I love it because you're wearing these different hats. Do you ever find conflict with all the different hats that you're wearing and trying to balance them?
Yeah, so in about 5 minutes, I got to take my kid to school. Completely. But I think I'm blessed for that, right? If you're not busy, the person that complains, oh, I hate my job. And I'm like, but you have a job. You know how many people I know who are unemployed, who are not getting by, whose home at some point might be foreclosed and credit card debt? You're okay. And I think that's sort of the grabbing the ideas around perspective and appreciating that, and then helping to lift others up, not bringing them up, but just kind of lifting them up with your energy and with the things that you're doing, giving other people a good, different perspective so that they can become better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Craig, what's the future hold for you, pal? As we look towards the back end of, Keith and C. Marty Fit are talking, it's June coming up here in a few days. We're celebrating January. A lot of people who have not achieved their January resolutions, we're going to give them a chance to reset in January and tackle the end of the year with Keith and C. Marty Fit. But June's right around the corner, Craig. When you look back and reflect on what you've accomplished this year and you look forward to what you're going to accomplish for the rest of the year, what does the rest of the year hold for Craig Oshrin?
So I think obviously, health and wellness, right? That to me is like pinnacle. Without that, nothing else exists. Care Patrol, continue to grow, become the center call for everything senior related. Just call us. That's that one thing. In the Web3 world over the next 5 years, I will be one of, if not the leading voice in Web3 when it comes to talking about content related to technology, emerging tech, blockchain infrastructure, non-fungible tokens, which are NFTs, and cryptocurrency news, focused on the element of social currency and a little bit of technical. So that's where I see myself being a moderator, traveling in that regard, speaking, interviewing, and creating content that's short clip, that's digestible for everyday people. To, again, biggest compliment Marty gave us. Oh, wow, that's a really great way you explained meme tokens. That to me is a high. So that's what I hope to accomplish, and hoping to see other people such as you, both you gentlemen, continue to elevate your podcasts and your personal endeavors and your group endeavors together. So
it's awesome, Craig. Thank you. See, Marty, before we wrap up.
Hey, appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, I learned a lot, and I wish you the best with everything, and just continue being super dad. It gives me inspiration. I don't have any kids yet, but that's how I want to be. Super busy, super dad, handling all the business, and just somebody that the younger guys can look up to. So I definitely appreciate you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
I love that. See, Marty. Hey, Craig, before we say goodbye, a question for you. I probably should have asked you this earlier. I laugh when I read stories about Bitcoin or ChatGPT is predicting Doge to be this, or ChatGPT is predicting Bitcoin to do this. We both know, all three of us know, large language models are created on what's already been said. So how are these large language models predicting what's going to happen based on historical data, what's already been said for these Doge, or is that just obvious scam stuff? And I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, the expert's mouth. When I read the story today saying,
that's the human element. There's the good marketing teams that have product launches. The best coins are the ones when it's an entire community. There's little to no VC money, and it's people coming and rallying around each other to support its price point and its endeavor around utility products and services and integration in the community. And there's certain ways in which communities of crypto and NFTs will breathe to show me that. And one of the metrics is whether they're donating. Do they have a community wallet? How are they managing those funds? Is it multi-sig, which means that you need 3 signatures in order to move about those funds? So in short, in saying that, if you see on Google that Bitcoin is going to $1 million, someone paid the position to put that ad there, because again, it's about pumping your bags. So when I look at things, I want to hear about technologies that I think I can use now or later, right? The products that you invest in, if you're going to invest in something into the everyday world, like, you're going bald, well then, you invested in Rogaine at the very beginning, smart, right? You knew this would do something for men and women who are trying to grow back their hair. So if you're going to invest in something, you should be a customer, other than if it's drugs, might not suggest that, but you should be a customer of what you're investing in. And I think that applies in Web3, and really do your research. And if you're going to really hop into the space of trying to play the the crypto game, you got to go on X, start asking questions, hopping into spaces, and just listening, taking notes, and then hopping into DMs and just asking, hey, what did you mean by this? What did that mean? What do you think about this? You'll be amazed how willing human beings are to help each other, to support our own ego, right? The best selfishness is when I feel that I'm uplifting and helping someone else is like, yeah, they needed me. And not that you go out and say that, but that feeling of you felt validated and you felt wanted or needed is probably one of the most important emotions that we can have as humans.
Mm-hmm. Exceptional conversation, Craig. You are welcome back here anytime, my friend. I know what we always like to say is once a guest in the lab, always a friend of the lab. So if you have stories, you have something you want to bring to the table, you're like, hey, I'm working on this project. I want to come to the lab with Keith and C. Marty Fit to have a human conversation. You're always welcome here, my friend. So.
And Marty, and please just friend me on LinkedIn so at least we're connected as well. But you gentlemen, you have any crypto questions that you just want to hit me up on the DM so you can go back and talk about it in future episodes? Always reach out to me. My DMs are open, and I'm so glad that we had a chance to really build a nice relationship on this episode today. So thank you both for having me on.
Awesome. That's really great, man. I appreciate you, Craig. See Marty Fit. We're rocking and rolling, man. What do you got planned for the day, pal?
A couple more clients, workout, doing some stuff, probably talking to you.
Yep.
Working on some stuff. And that's about it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Me too. So listen, guys, we got January resolutions coming up. Be watching the feeds for some content coming from Keith and C. Marty Fit. Maybe we'll get Craig signed up for that. Who knows? And be staying tuned for, we're working on something else as well with Morning Show in a Box Nation. Any of you that want to have a show like Keith and C. Marty Fit, any of you that want to have a human conversation with other human beings, we've got the whole show in a box. Here's the content. Here's how you do it. Here's the technology. Just show up and start your morning conversation with other human beings and then get on with your day. The best way to own a narrative with your community is to start a conversation. True story. All right, we're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here and enjoy the day today. We got a bunch of work to do, and we're going to be back later today at noon. Monroe Melvin's joining me, C. Marty Fit, Craig Oshrin, AI expert. Man, the AI theme continues throughout the day today. We're going to talk bias, diversity, and then get some work done. So, gentlemen, have a great one. We're going to connect later. C. Marty Fit, we'll see you in the morning, pal. Tomorrow morning's in the lab, and, of course, today, noon with Monroe Melvin. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.
We'll take care. Cheers.